解这个。
啊。
好。
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to today's session. Every week, we sit together to do one thing. That's to be alone together. What does aloneness mean? If I say I'm alone, am I isolated or not? Does isolation concern aloneness or not? Or aloneness has a different thing, a very different state of mind? To meditate is to be alone. It does not mean that you have to be all by yourself. Even you are sitting in a crowd, you can still be alone. Mentally alone. Mentally independent. The word alone means all one. All one is alone. But look at this whole world. Look at the common consciousness of the human beings. All kinds of influences from the people around you, from all the words you are speaking, from the news, from the information you receive daily. Have you ever noticed? Have you ever noticed the content of this consciousness? What's the content of the consciousness? Isn't it all kinds of thoughts, inferences? From the whole society, from the whole environment you are living in. In that very consciousness, everyone is isolated by the reactions to the thoughts, which give a feeling of true, being feel true. That's most people's life, right? We are keep being tricked and cheated by the thoughts, by the reaction to thoughts, by all kinds of perceptions. When we are living thoughts, in this kind of consciousness, based on the reaction to thoughts, which we call the perception, the life is full of fear, is it? Thoughts themselves are sorrow, are fear. How can we live a life peacefully, deeply, not superficially? Try to engage ourselves into all kinds of pleasure in the hope of running away from the fear for a while. All kinds of escape. To understand consciousness, the content of it, so we can implement it totally. This is the journey of meditation. I mean, the true meditation. Which is the life. It is really a sight to see the old human beings on this planet are serious about all kinds of things, all kinds of small things, but are never serious about the mind. They are so busy being serious about anything that we shouldn't be serious about. And they are never serious about something we should be really serious about. The mind. We take it for granted. We rely on the ego, on the self, to enhance the feeling that it exists. It's something we can rely on. And we're only serious about the conflicts, the kills, all kinds of issues arising from this state of mind. But we are never serious about why we are in such a state of mind. When we are serious about all these kind of small things, all these kind of petty things, the life is inevitably full of sorrow, is it? We care about too much. About this kind of stuff, that kind of stuff. But at the same time, we are not aware of the true issue, which is the mind. Probably that's the only issue which leads to all kinds of issues in the world. All kinds of the individual issues, all kinds of neuroses. What an amazing sight, isn't it? So many different kinds of neuroses. Leads to all kinds of societal issues, complaints, conflicts, contradictions. They're still the consequence of all kinds of neuroses from the mind, when the mind is in disorder. Actually, thoughts are disorder, aren't they? Thoughts themselves are disorder. The me is the disorder. Most people are looking to the superficial mental challenges without realizing there's such a fundamental disorder there. The me, the self. When we are running the self, which must be in a very subtle way, we can't meet the issue completely. When the issue is not met with complete attention, the issue stays. The issue upgrades. The issue deteriorates. And for most time life, we always meet issues with incomplete attention. All kinds of issues accumulate. Because every time we encounter some issues, because the self-concern, we can't really give the full attention on the issue. Full attention means the self is not there. Then we can really see things as they are, to see things objectively. And in that very full attention, the whole attention, the issue disappears immediately. But if we can't really meet the issue with the full attention, with the concern about the self, the issue stays with the self immediately. Then one is caught up in all kinds of reactions to the self reactions, all kinds of neuroses. And when we have some issues, we don't give full attention, because the full attention is only when the self is not there. But we give the full concentration, which is in thoughts. Concentration means exclusion. Is it? That's why we are so serious about many small issues, because we concentrate on it and we exclude others. That kind of concentration not only leads to the neuroses further, but also because the exclusion, new conflicts pop up. So, to meditate truly, not as a game to play, as an activity to take part in, but as a life practice. To meditate is simply to empty the consciousness, to end the self. So we can meet the life with a full attention. Then there's a totally different quality of life. When you pay attention to something, your full attention, there's a kind of different beauty, which has nothing to do with your thoughts, which nothing to do with the beauty you learn from school, from other people, which is purely all kinds of opinions, views. When we really give full attention to life, the full attention means in conclusion, inclusion. Include everything. That's a beauty which is really beyond the verse. Most people are able to concentrate because they are trained from school, from all kinds of societies, cultures, to try to focus on only one thought and exclude others. This is still in the domain of thoughts, and the concentration only leads to all kinds of issues in the little life, and all kinds of specializations, over specializations. It's due to this kind of concentration, partially the partial focus, without the total understanding of life. Look at this world. Most people are working only in a small domain, in a small field, only care about his or her little issues. Because people don't know how to be aware of the things. They only know how to concentrate on something. But actually, we don't need to learn be aware, because being aware is a part of neuron systems. It's because we are trained to concentrate. Then we forget, we ignore how to be aware. So the attention is to be aware. To be aware means to include. Inclusion only can take place beyond the thoughts. If one is concentrate, that's only exclusion. As we said before, it's in the domain of thoughts. So to meditate is to be aware, is to include. But look at your consciousness, the content, your life. How many things are related to exclusion, judgment, all kinds of opinions, divide people. Thoughts only divide and exclude. Which means closed, being closed. When we keep excluding, when we keep dividing, the life is becoming smaller and smaller. finally entrapped in a dead end. But to be aware is to include, not divide, not exclude. Because all kinds of exclusion, we build up the self, the ego, isn't it? To make yourself different from others, then that's a division, that's an exclusion. But in the opposite direction, when the process of inclusion takes place, all the walls are being demolished. And the ego, the self, is disintegrated into pieces. In that space, the mind is really free. Not only free from all kinds of issues, the mind is simply free. And this is meditation. It is nothing mysterious, is it? It's just a process of including more and more. When life is in a process of exclusion, the life is full of a conflict, not only with yourself, also with others. It's also full of competition. Where there's exclusion, there's no love at all. There's only mutual exploitation. The love, the compassion can only take place when the life is going on an inclusive track. So, in the middle of the session, let's take a 10-minute meditation practice together, following the audio guide. Then, after that, let's come back to the session for the second half of the exploration. Now, let's take a 10-minute meditation. Start by taking a moment to find a comfortable position to sit in a posture that you feel relaxed and get alert. Let hands rest on your knees or laps. Let the eyes close gently. Soften your forehead. Act a soft smile in the corner of your lips. Breathe naturally. As you breathe in, be aware that you are breathing in. Feel the sensation of breathing in. The region can be the nostrils, can be the belly, can be anywhere. Focus on the part you feel most. As you breathe out, be aware that you are breathing out. Feel the sensation of breathing out. The region can be the nostrils, can be the belly, can be anywhere. Focus on the part you feel most. Fix your attention on the breath. Let go of any thought, words, images. This moment, nothing is more important than breath. While you are listening to the bell, check where your attention is. If it wasn't on the breath, after the bell, gently invite your attention back to the breath and sustain your attention on the breath. Slowly bring your awareness back to this room. Feel into your body. Wiggle your fingers and toes. When you are ready, open your eyes. In the past 10 minutes, we have done the sitting meditation, which is only part of this long journey of meditation of the session. The whole session is meditation, isn't it? We explore the mind together. To understand the mind a little more. This understanding comes from the awareness. So this session is meditation. It's also part of the meditation of the life. So the session is only 1 hour, but the meditation is way beyond that. The human being has one of the most complicated neural system. A lot of researchers are studying it in all kinds of ways. But unfortunately, the true understanding of the neuron system has to be done through the inner exploration. That's the only way. You can understand, you can draw a cell, a neuron cell, but it has nothing to do with the understanding of the neural paths. How the neuron paths are working is truth. That's very simple, isn't it? The truth is how the neurons are working. How this world, how your universe, how my universe is built up based on neurons. This truth, interestingly, is beyond any discussion. We can have a seminar, we can have a conference to discuss about the mind, but it has nothing to do with truth. Truth is beyond any discussion. And what is being discussed is not truth. Truth can be only found in silence. When the mind is not chattering. When the mind is in order. Don't forget, thoughts are disorder. The self The me is disorder. So how can a bunch of egocentric scientists to discuss, to find out the truth? Is that possible? How can a bunch of egocentric people to design a game which is called democracy to lead to the freedom? Is that possible? It is fundamentally ridiculous, is it? But unfortunately, it is happening at each moment now on this amazing planet. Which is the most amazing entertainment we could ever had to see this. So, as we have said many times in the past sessions, meditation is very simple. It's just to be simple, so we can see the simplicity. When we are complicated, we can't see the simplicity at all, can we? When the life is in disorder, which is the thought with the self, the life is very complicated. Nature is very simple. But when we are complicated, we are totally disconnected from nature. The nature is everywhere. The nature is also here. The nature of mind. How the neuron works. What's the thought process? To understand this, to understand the simplicity of this, is one of the most, probably not one of the most, it's the most complicated thing ever. To work out of this complexity totally. To let the mind meet nature again. Actually, our neurons, the neuron system as a whole, has its order. It is running in a very orderly way. But most people never trust it. They only trust the thoughts, the disorder. When the thoughts dominate the life, the whole neuron system is in disorder, which are showing in different ways, different illnesses, different symptoms, different kind of neuroses. Neurosis. That's a difficult word to pronounce. So, To meditate is not to improve something. Actually, it's nothing to improve, is it? It's just to restore. To restore the things that we have destroyed. When we are lacking the awareness. When we have this kind of a concept of a duality. To separate the body and the mind in a way to lead to the further conflicts in the thoughts, further distorting the mind and the body, further complicating everything. To liberate oneself from all of this, to put away all the things human has created. That is meditation. To really see these things as they are. To feel how ugly this kind of stuff is. Human being has never created anything beautiful, even we call it beautiful. Compared to the beauty of the nature, everything we have done is purely ugliness, isn't it? Due to all kinds of self-centered activities against the integrity of nature. I don't care about others. I don't care about how they are living, but I could care about myself. I want to reconnect with nature. I want to ignite myself as a light to enlighten others. That's the care I can do for myself. And this will be the care for everybody, isn't it? When we are talking here, the mind is not chattering, is it? The thoughts pop up because the order of the mind. But we still need to go beyond all those words from this mouth to understand the truth by each of you. Truth is not in the verse. It always lies behind the verse, which means that you have to observe your mind to understand this thoroughly. Then, between you and me, the greatest communication has happened. And only both of us can go beyond the verse. There can be the true communication. And by the end of the session, let's again to be silent for 3 minutes. to be alone together. Great. By the end of the session, again, wish everybody has a good day, good week. Stay peace and calm, and also prioritize a conscious life or anything else. When one is living a conscious life in that new dimension, a very different dimension, nothing really matters. And hopefully this sentence can stay with you all the time. No matter which kind of situation you are confronted with, don't forget, nothing is really important. Nothing really matters. Bye bye, everybody.